the legend all the way from Japan to Croatia here at Reboot. First things first, in case you didn't recognize from the very voracious introduction that I just did, this is Yu Suzuki. Apparently in the booklet, his panel has been listed as yesterday. He, in fact, did not time travel to today, and it's here on Friday. That was a misprint. So if you are here to see Yu Suzuki, you are in the right place. If you are here to see somebody else, you are in the wrong place. Okay? Good. We're all in the right place. Nobody's getting off the airplane. I like it when that happens. はい。まあ、一応ですね。はい。説明の本、このトレイドショーの説明の本に、鈴木さんは昨日のセッションをやるという予定だったんですけれども、一応本日になっていると。でちゃんとウェブサイトの方で直されてるんですけれども、まあ、ちゃんとここの、部屋に来てはる方はすべて鈴木様に会いに来てるという話ですね。間違いないです。はい。ということなので、本日ちょっと最初から、見せる何かありますよね。
3月にですね、
はい、
1ヶ月前にモナコで公開したビデオがあるんですけど、トレーラーがあるんですけど、ちょっと持ってまいりましたので、ちょっとおかけします。
わかりました。はい、We all like videos, yes? Most of our Japanese guests don't bring a lot of videos, so this was a trailer that was shown at Monaco about a month ago. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. If not, you probably haven't seen it on a screen this big. So let's roll it. はい、どうぞお願いします。
無様なもんだな。その程度のクンフーで俺様に勝てるとでも思ったのか。
変身さんを助けないと。
りょう、まだダメ。まだ無理。どうするか考えよう。
どうすれば。
何の用かな。
少し前にゴロツキがこの村を荒らしていったと聞いたのですが。
おお、今日はどこだと怒鳴りながら家探しをして、この通りだよ。
この人たちは一体誰なんだ。シェファー、これは。
知らないおじさん2人がこの家に入っていくのを見たんだ。
村の子供たちがジョさんの家にゴロツキが入っていくのを見たらしい。岩尾は俺の親父です。親父のことを知っているんですか。親父は殺されたんです。
お前さんたちには関わりのない昔のことじゃと言ったはずじゃ。
くそ、一体どうすれば。技を教えてください。
そう簡単に教えるわけにはいかんな。
何でもします。教えてください。
そうじゃ、その調子じゃ。お主には俊敏さが足らん。素早く接近して撃つのじゃ。遅い。基礎力もついたようじゃ。そろそろ技を伝授してやるかのう。よいか。
こんな感じです。
Shenmue 3, yes, are we excited? もう、りょうさん、
あ、ごめん。
アップデート。これちょっと消しましょうか。Ryo does not look a day older than 18 years ago when we first saw him. Pretty impressive. Skin still very, very nice. 一応ね、りょうさんも18年経ってるんですけれども、まあ、肌の質すごいまだまだいいですね。素晴らしいと思います。はい。So, I'd like to get started with the first question we have here. Shenmue has always been referred to as one of the first open world games. Did you feel that way at the time you created it? まあ最初の質問ですね。オープンワールドゲームというのがまあ最近めっちゃ流行ってると思うんですけれども、最初シェンムーが出た時に、まあ初めてのオープンワールドゲームというふうには言われてると思うんですけれども、それは最初作った時にどんな気持ちでしたか？
最初作った頃はその言葉がなくて、
はい、
で僕はフリーって呼んでたんですよね。それでどのゲームも RPG みたいな目的があって、で手段が結構限られていたんですけど、手段をたくさん用意して、自由に手段を選びながらこう進んで目標に向かっていくっていうのをちょっとやってみたくて、シェンムで初めてそれをチャレンジしたんですけども、今はなんかオープンワールドっていう言葉になってちょっとシェンム違うんですよね。そういう意味で言うと、
はい。
すごい広いわけでもないですし、箱庭ですけど、十分ないろんなパターンが遊べるかなと思って。
はい。わかりました。So, back in the day when he was creating Shenmue, and many Japanese creators were coming up with their own genre names, he first fashioned it as the genre free. I don't know if we all remember what that was referred to. Free って何でしたっけ？なんか頭文字を扱ってたと思います
いっ
ね。
ぱいなんか頃作ってましたよね。
はい。そうですね。Yeah, apparently there were lots of different anagrams that people were using for free back then.
フルインタラクティブです
Full
ね。
interactive.
で
Eyes Entertainment, there we go. There's somebody from the press that knows their history. And back then, he wasn't thinking of open world because there really were no open world games. He was just merely thinking from a design perspective of, there were a lot of RPGs that of course preceded that in Japanese gaming design culture. And usually the RPG was, you had a goal that you would go to, and there was a path to get to that goal. Maybe there were multiple paths, but still there was really only one way to achieve that goal. And so what he wanted to do with Shenmue originally was give players multiple ways or methods to get to the goal, to complete the goal. And so that was the freedom that he was aiming for when making the original Shenmue. Obviously, Shenmue itself, when you compare it to modern open world games, size-wise isn't big. The actual size of the stages and the maps and all that are not huge. But the reality is, the ways that you can go about clearing different goals in that game, you're provided with multiple ways, not just one. Whereas a lot of times in current sandbox-type games, maybe you can do missions in a different order, but you're still going to have to go down a traditional flow to get from point A to point B and to move the story forward. With his game, he wanted to give people more options. はい。どうぞ。
最近、盛んにプレイチェックをやってるんですね。モニターの人を呼んできていろんなチェックをしているんですけど、
はい。
そうですね、外の人で20人ぐらいちょっとテストしたけど、もう全員違うプレイになっちゃって、全く違うプレイになってるので、なんかよくもこんなに違う遊びに、デバッグ大変ですけどね、はい、狙った感じにはなってきたんじゃないかなと思います、ね。
それ今作の話ですね。はい。And so for Shenmue 3, he's used probably about 20 external testing resources, different people who are currently playing the game. And it makes him happy as a creator because every one of the 20 people are finding a different way to move the game forward. They're finding their own different approaches and methods. So in fact, it is kind of a proof of concept that his version of open world isn't about size, it isn't about tons of different assets. It's about getting people to figure out different approaches, different ways to solve what may be the same problem. はい、そうですね、もう、そういう意味合いでは、今のオープンワールドゲームとはなんか違うわけですよね。
ちょっと違う。
先ほど言われたんですけれども、十人十色ですね。本当にいろんな人がいて、みんななりの解決の仕方を見つけたらいいという考えですね。はい、それはおそらく今のオープンワールドゲームでは結局目標というのは最終的に一つしかなくて、決まった順番なくても結局ミッションのクリアの条件っていうのは一つだけっていうのがわりかし多い気がしますけれども、
なんか寄り道が楽しいゲームになってますね。
そうですね。
巻きばかり割ってる人もいるし。
はい。ですね。Yes, so again with the way that he envisions open world games versus what some of the other current open world games are. There's an expression in Japanese. The loose translation would be different strokes for different folks. It's pronounced Junin Toiro. It really means 10 people, 10 colors. But it's about diversity in solving a game puzzle or a game problem. And so he's really happy to be able to present a game where it's not about you just changing the order of the scenario, but in fact the only way to clear the game is to kill this person or to get this item. It's about there really are multiple ways to solve that one scenario. And that's where he's placed a lot of focus. じゃあちょっと、差し支えなければ次の質問に移りたいと思いますけれども。So the next question would be, we want to talk about reality, real worlds, what they mean and what that means to Shenmue. まあ、Shenmue ではリールとは何ですか？
最初の頃は僕はシミュレーションゲームばっかり作ってたからシミュレーターの人っていうそのイメージが強かったらしくてシェンムーも現実世界だねって言われてきたんですけども実際はリアルを追求してるわけじゃなくてリアリティっていうところですねらしさでそういうものっていう例えば映るかな
He wants to show something. Ah, there we go.
なんかこれ競輪作ったんですけど山だけ競輪でねちょっと少し日本みたいな屋台があったり、でこっち側の岸にあるのが競輪じゃないところの景色ですね鳳凰工場っていうんですけど中国のすごく中国らしい景色をこういろんなとこから持ってきてそれで自分がやりたい表現に近づけるためにちょっとデフォルメーションしたりしていますね。
So, if you know his background, Yu Suzuki is known for doing simulation type or heavy games before doing Shenmue, to the point where within the Japanese game industry he was called that simulator guy. So when it comes to Shenmue, a lot of people have come to him and said, oh, Suzuki-san, you are totally going after reality. You're trying to find the real world and put it into a game. But that isn't the case. With his games, he feels that trying to get the real world 100% into a game would be pretty boring. I don't know about the rest of you, but the real world can be pretty boring. That's why we come to these conferences, to shake it up a little bit. But he'd rather go after what is something that feels like reality, that conjures up feelings of reality, but still has spice and is a bit different. So, for example, in this image, Kading's Chinese location, if you look at it, these different shops here on the side, they're standing shops known as yatai in Japan. That's a more common sort of visual that you will see in Japan more than you would China. Some of the mountains and certainly the different buildings, houses over there, they've been taken from a different part, not Kading, China. So he's basically gone in and grabbed different pieces that he felt really added atmosphere. But for somebody who doesn't live in Kading, or somebody who maybe hasn't gone to Japan and seen what these yatais are, or maybe if you have gone there and you haven't gone to China, so you don't know, still you're going to take a look at this and go, oh, that's China. That's probably Kading. That's exactly what it looks like. The reality is it isn't. But it still conjures up the reality of what people feel or would assume it's like to be in China. And that's what he's going after. What's that blend between what is the real world, but also a mixture of not the real world, which works in a game.
背景については、
はい、
すごくデフォルメーションしてるんですけどその日常のそのちっちゃなこう仕草とかなんか困った時の感じとかNPC なんかもこういろんなその中国の顔を作って、で NPC に力入れてるゲームもここまでじいさんとばあさんばっかり出てくるゲームもないのかなっていうのもあるしあとはそういった例えば音楽にしても中国の楽器をなるべく使ったり でそういうらしさっていうのはこだわってるところはちょっとこだわって作ってますね。
That being said, the amount of assets you need to use to build out backgrounds and environments, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of cost, risk, etc. So he has taken liberties in altering things and make sure that they've got the right visual impact, created his own game world, so to speak. But there are certain areas where he absolutely feels you need to get as close as you can to what is the real world. And that is going to be things like animations. So people's reactions, their hand motions, gestures, etc. He also painstakingly tried to create as many true Chinese NPC faces that he could, so that it again gives the feeling of reality. Also, when it came to providing music for the game music is created through actual Chinese musical instruments. So again, adding the real world in as true as possible in certain parts, certain aspects of the development. He definitely doesn't want to give on those. But when it comes to the environments, that's an area where you're going to see something that's maybe not the real world, but still conjures up a bit of reality. はい。
この船なんかはとても中国には見えない。
For example, this is a boat in the game. You probably would not see this kind of a boat in China. どこで見かけますかこういうような船。
これはうちのデザイナーがこれが得意だったからこれ入れることになっちゃう。
I asked him where one might find a boat like this, and he said, one of our designers really good at making boats, so that's the boat he made. So it's, I guess, in his designer's head is where one would find this boat.
ただ外観がすごく電飾をつけたりですね、ネオンをつけたり、中国のギラギラした感じにしたりして、なんとか中国風にしようなんて、実は外から見ると中国の船になってたりするんですね。
But you can still add things like neon signs, maybe some shaders, effects, whatever, that can help add to the feeling of it being a Chinese boat, even though it is in fact not one. So there are certain things to find the right hybrid, the blend. はい。
スタッフの得意不得意もあるので、やっぱりその企画自体を少し変更してもこうスタッフの力が出るようなにアレンジを変えたりしながらこう世界観保つ、絶対ギリギリ守っていきながら作っていくっていう感じですね。
We talked about 30 minutes before I came down here to make sure that we were syncing up the right way and I wasn't going to say something incorrect. And he said something that I personally was very excited about to hear. And that is, he really respects the staff. They're the people that are making the game. And so you can be a vision holder, a creator, a director, but you don't want to be selfish. You're making it as a team. And so what he just said here, which is fantastic, is he had a design. He had the design document, the GDD, ready to go. And when showing it to his staff, he realized there were certain areas that his staff was good at and certain areas that they were bad at, like all of us. And so he chose to alter some of the game design to make sure that it would allow his staff to be able to hit to their best strengths, to be able to make sure that they were building out the game that they were going to be able to build out the best way. And that's pretty rare to have that sort of flexibility in a creator. So I was very impressed by that way of thinking. 言える範囲でいいので、結局その企画とは違ってスタッフのやっぱり力を発揮するためにこれぐらいこのことを変更しましたっていうなんか例えありますか？
シェムでですかね。
そうですね、シェムで、はい。なければ別に次の質問に移りますけれども。
ですね、今回はですね、ちょっとやっぱりその外も使ったり中も使ったり、そのデザイナーの個性がそのやっぱりこう東洋のキャラクターが得意な人もいるし、そのディズニーみたいな少しこうデフォルメーションしたシュレックみたいな感じの得意な人もいるし、でそれをどっちかにこう合わしちゃうとその
不得意が出るわけですね。
その生産効率が落ちてくるんですね。ですからもう結構自由に割と作らして、それで後でその調整かける、ちょっとこう 味の素かけるみたいな、味の全然わかんないねこれ
超
これじゃわ
日
からない
本的な例えですね。はい。
なんかその調味料、じゃあバターにする、もう全部バター乗っけてこう大体そっちの方に持っていくって感じですね。
I've lived in Japan for 18 years. I've translated for a wide variety of different creators. They have thrown me curveballs, cultural curveballs, things that would be very hard to translate. This is going to be one of them, so please bear with me. I will do my best. I asked him for a specific example of maybe some area in which the design had been altered in a way to more hit to his staff's aptitude, strengths, etc. And he said, initially when we were making the game, we had some character modelers, designers, that were good at creating Chinese, Asian sort of characters. And then we had some that were better at doing more fantastical Disney characters. He used the example Shrek. I don't think we're going to see Shrek in Shenmue 3, unfortunately. That would be probably a Kingdom Hearts game. But ultimately, let them both create their different characters, and then afterwards decided on what was going to be the unified vision, which direction they were going to go. And then after that, even the people, the character modelers that were good at doing the more Disney type sort of things, and here we go, you're going to be bearing with me. There is a flavor, there's a company in Japan, Ajinomoto, that creates different soy sauces and powders and flavors and all these things, basically spices. And this company, basically, he's trying to say we added spices on top of the Disney characters to then bring them closer to the unified vision, which I assume is shaders and tweaking and coloring and whatnot. But the point is, he still allowed the different character modelers to make what they were good at, and then later tweak them in a way that it would fit the unified vision. So now, bare minimum, you can say, I have met Yu Suzuki, and I know that there is something in Japan called Ajinomoto, which is a spice company. So we're all smarter, aren't we? Fantastic. はい。そうですね。じゃあちょっとあれでしたら次の質問に移りたいんですけれども、
はい、
よろしいですか？
はい。
はい。ありがとうございます。今回のシェンムー3で力を入れたいところということですね。Next question, where are you putting a lot of your effort on Shenmue 3?
日本語で。
日本語で大丈夫ですよ。
はい、
力を入れたいところというか、このシェンムー3に関して力を入れているところはどこですか？
そうですね。こうつながりっていう言葉があるんですけど、日本語で言うとシェンムー1の時と2の時でやり残したことがあるんですね。
はい。
それで、要素はたくさんあったんですけど、その要素同士のこうつながりがちょっと希薄だっていうか薄かったんですよ。
はい。
でシェンムー3でどこに力を入れるかって言ったら、やっぱり1、2でやり残したことはぜひ3でやりたいなと思ってたんで、
はい、
いろんな要素をなるべくこうつないで関連づけていこうっていうことを3ではやりました。だから例えばアイテム1個取っても、例えばアルバイトをして、でそのアルバイトも何種類もあるんですけど、アルバイトをしたお金を今度はちょっとこうギャンブルみたいなので増やして、でそれでなんかを木札を、日本のパチンコで3点交換ってあるんですけど、直接ギャンブルやるとなかなか中国で売れなくなるとまずいなと思って3点交換っていうのを作りまして、それでトークンを景品交換所に持っていくと景品に交換してくれて、その景品を質屋に持っていくと質屋がお金に変えてくれるっていう、こうお金の循環とかいろんなものの循環、アイテムとかで、最終的にはシェンムーっていうゲームを進めていくには憲法の物語なので、途中でこう立ちはだかる敵を倒していかなくちゃいけないんですね。そのために技書っていうのが必要になって、最終的に技書に全てがこう迂回しながらも、こう何段階かこうかましながらも必ずそこに向かうように なってて、基本的に無駄なことがないようにして全部がなるだけ関連するようにっていうのをちょっと難しいね訳すの。
大丈夫です。大丈夫です。こういうのが楽しいです。So we're all going to learn a lot about Japanese culture, including the dark side of Japanese culture. Get ready. Obviously, as a creator, he did Shenmue 1, and then he did Shenmue 2. And probably every creator goes through this, which is they look back on their work and they said, I just didn't get to do that one thing. We only got to create 70% of the game that I really wanted to create. Or I had to make a movie for 2 hours and I really wanted 3 hours. For the Shenmue series, the one thing he always wanted to do is he felt he had disparate systems, elements, gameplay elements, features that weren't connected. There's a word in Japanese, tsunagari, which means connection. He wanted to connect the different gameplay elements so that each one meant something, and so that each one was going to then tie you into another gameplay element. So it was all one connected game. He uses a very good example of, we all love the fact that in Shenmue you can do side jobs, part-time jobs. Because our day job isn't enough fun. We want to do more jobs, especially when playing a video game. But when you do those different side jobs, you get money. And you take the money, and then you're able to use it to gamble, do mini games, etc. When you then play the mini games, you are given prizes. Then you take the prizes, and you take them to a pawn shop, and then get more money. So there's actually, this does really exist in Japan, pachinko. You go there, you gamble, you get prizes. You can't get money directly because that would be bad gambling. Good gambling, however, means you gamble, you get prizes, then apparently you walk out and next door there's a pawn shop, you sell the prizes and get money. So it's not bad gambling, it's good gambling. That is a real thing that happens in Japan, and that's also something that will be in the game. So you'll be connecting different activities. First the part-time job, then the mini games gambling, then going to the pawn shop, interacting with the different shops in the world. So those systems are now connected. But he's taken it another step further, and that is he wanted a central system core to the game. Obviously, anybody who's played Shenmue knows that you have to fight your way to the top, to the conclusion, to the last boss. There are fighting scenes and areas and whatnot. So there is a
skill book.
Hey? Skill book. Thank you very much. Maybe he'll do the English translation from now on. Fantastic. Skill book, which connects a lot of the different pieces of the game. So you can collect different items, and after collecting a certain number of items, that opens up a new skill. And you'll be able to use that skill maybe to beat another boss and then move the story forward. So there are different collectibles in the game that when you collect them will open up new abilities, and then you'll be able to move the story forward. So all that, again, dials into the connection piece from a design point that he really wanted to focus on. Sounds like he's really been able to achieve it. もうすごい楽しそうですね。そういうつながりっていうのは、やっぱり。
やってみないとね、ちょっと分かんないとこもある。
そうですね。でも、自信ありますか？そのつながりの要素に関して。
やっぱり、つないでみると、なんか、
楽しい。
面白いですね、なんか。
はい、
楽しさがちょっと違うけど、ここに出てきてるのがこれがポーンショップですね。これシェムは2エリアあって、
構成してますね。
これはハッカソンっていうエリアのポーンショップで、田舎ですけどね。
はい。
でこっちが景品交換所ですね。でちょっとこっち行くと景品交換所、これ質屋さん行くとですね、売るっていうのが物を持っていって売ることができて、こっちはね、そのエクスチェンジって交換ができるんですよ。
何と交換しますか？
いろんなアイテムの組み合わせで技書と交換してくれるんですね。でお金も物を売ってお金にして、そのお金で技書を買ったりするんで、結局技書に向かっていくんですけど、このエクスチェンジっていう機能がちょっと面白いですね。いろんな組み合わせができるので。
そうですね。I just asked him, how happy he was with what he's been able to achieve with the connectivity system. And he said, very happy. He's like, surprisingly enough, you attach different gameplay elements and features to each other, and they end up working, and it's a nice flow, and it's good pacing, progression, gating, and it's fun. It makes for a really good game. He showed off a couple of photos here. One is, このエリア、なんていうエリア？
ハッカソンってバイルビレッジっていう。
Bailu Village. Sorry, my Chinese geography is not the greatest. Bailu Village is one of the two main areas you'll be able to go in the game. It's more like a countryside sort of area. And ultimately, if you saw the previous photo, 前のスライド見せていただけますか? You can see we have the pawn shop, and then we also have the prize exchange. じゃあ前のスライドお願いします。And when you get a prize through playing different mini games or gambling or whatever, you have options. You can either straight up sell it to get money, or you can, if you have the right number of prizes, exchange it for, again, a new skill in the skill book. That allows you multiple paths forward, because there are some skills that you can buy straight up with money, but then there are also some skills in the skill book that you can open through the combination of having different items. So that the gating allows a certain amount of freedom. This goes back to what he said he wanted to do with free, which is give people multiple solutions to move forward in the game. And that's one of the ways he's able to do it, while also dialing into the connectivity feature. はい、まあすごい楽しそうです。
これをしていくと、今日持ってきてないんですけども、情報出しすぎるとちょっとまずいなと思って、それでこれのここセルとかエクスチェンジを押すと次の画面に遷移していくんですけど、
はい、
ちょっとこっちが景品交換所の方の実際のアイテムがこう売ってるとこですね。
So this is the prize exchange shop in the game, and it shows the wide variety of different things you can buy. これ全ては購入、交換ですね。
交換。
Sorry, not buy, but exchange different things for.
トークンと交換できる。
You'll be able to get tokens and exchange them for a wide variety of different prizes. これ別になんかどこに置くとかそういうわけじゃなくて、あくまでスキルブックの技を増やすためですね。組み合わせ的に。
多分最終的にはそう、まあ違うやつをコンプリートする人もいますけども、いろいろ。
わかりました。はい。で、
この景品に変えて、それで質屋に持っていくんですけど、お店によってちょっとレートが違ったり、
はい。
なんかちょっとこうアイテムの多い意味なんかもちょっと出てくるのかなっていう感じですね。
わかりました。Yeah, so you will exchange tokens to be able to get some of these items. I asked him if these are items you'd ever place anywhere in the world, and he said no, it's primarily to unlock skills in the skill book. That being said, there are going to be collectors as gamers that want to get all the items, and so that is, again, one of the systems that people will probably spend time on doing, making sure they collect all the different items. And depending on the location, you'll find different premium exchange locations that have more items or less items, or this item is cheaper here, but it's more expensive there, and so you'll be incentivized to visit a wide variety of different shops, and again, start to fill out your skill book and have more forward progression. じゃあちょっとあれでしたら次の質問にもうちょっと話したいですか。すいません。どうぞ。
早く終わっちゃう。これ3点交換のさっきの。
And this is the good gambling example of prize. You exchange it at the pawn shop, you get tokens, and then you can use your tokens to, again, gamble and get more prizes.
これで循環するって感じですけどね。
Yes, the great pachinko circle of life. Right there it is, in video games.
あとはサクッとこういろんなユーザーサイクルっていうんですか、ゲームサイクルがちょっと用意されていて、こういうものからそのアイテムを手に入れて、アイテムの組み合わせからスキルブックの方にこうつながっていくっていう感じ。
So a lot of these are core game designs that you'll see in many other games, collecting things, exploring to find new places, main story progression, etc. But in these 6 different categories, the different things you'll be able to do and different ways you'll interact with the game will then again all tie into the skill book, which is the core gating feature of the game, which then moves the full story forward. はい。
本当はもっと多いんですけど、課金
課金？
もうちょっと多いんですけどね、6つだけ書いてきたんです。
6つより多いということですね。はい。Apparently, there are more than 6 categories. There are other categories that are not on this slide. But for just the purposes of today's session, we're going to keep it condensed to 6. Point is, there's a lot of stuff to do in Shenmue 3, which is awesome.
次 OK ですよ。
わかりました。I've now been given the green light to go to the next question, so let's do that. Please tell us about the battle system and elements of the game. シェンムーのバトル要素について教えてください。
はい。基本的にはワンツーみたいな感じで、シェム僕は思考型のゲームだと思ってるので、バチャファイターみたいにはタイミングカリカリしないように、その初心者の方でも遊べるようにっていうことで、やっぱり初心者向けに合わせちゃうとエキスパートの人やり込んでる人があんまり面白く簡単すぎて面白くないっていうし、こっちに合わせちゃうと、で今回はそういうことをちょっとカバーするためになんか業務用でよくディップスイッチで難易度調整があったようにイージーとノーマルとハードとハーデストっていうのが選べるようにして、でそれがバトルだけではなくてそのストーリー進行に関わるちょっといろんなところで調整が入るんですけど、バトルの方では簡単バトルっていうのイージーですね。であとおすすめバトルおすすめモードっていうのと、でもう一個は修行モードって修行していただくってやつですね。でもう一個がやめて OK っていうやつを作って。
So for the battle system, one of the things he wanted to do is wanted to create more options, more difficulty options. If you make a game too easy, because you want to make sure that beginners and new players are able to enjoy it, then obviously the core get good people are going to get upset, and that's always frustrating. But you don't want to leave people out. You want to make as many gamers enjoy the game as possible. We all know that Yu Suzuki's roots are in the arcade. It's where he did a lot of his original games. Arcade units have dip switches, which allowed you to set different difficulties. That's why maybe when you played Street Fighter, on one unit you could very easily beat the last boss, and on others you could not beat them no matter how many hundreds of dollars you threw at the unit. Those dip switches were usually set up to be easy, normal, hard, and hardest. Those were the phrases they used back in the day. For Shenmue 3, trying to keep the spirit of that, and of course dialing into the good parts of his roots and his past, they're framing battles with 4 different difficulties. One is easy battle. The second is recommended. It's the equivalent of normal. Then there's mastery battle, hard. And then the last one in Japanese is yamete oke, which basically means don't play this. Don't do this. This is not smart for you to play. So very interesting that he's added these wide variety of options to make sure that a lot of people can play. It's got a lot of accessibility as a game, but I don't think it's just there. I think there's other things he's done as well. それ以外にですね、その難易度の設定というか選択以外にも、また操作でもなんか。
そうですね。
はい。
なんかデッキを組むって言ったらちょっと面倒くさい風に聞こえるんですけど、技書をこう手に入れると技が使えるようになるんですね。
はい、
でもちろん鍛えることができて技も強くなっていくんですけど、例えば技書を10冊手に入れて15冊手に入れてそれを鍛えていくとなると5つだけデッキにセットできるんですね。で面倒くさい人は全部オートマティックに強い順から入っていくんですけど、マニュアルで自分でも手動で入れることもできて、でそれ左のレバーで切り替えて右のレバー一発で出せるようにで5個の技が瞬時に出せるようになってて、 普段簡単モードですね、簡単バトルモードで、これ初心者の方も面倒なコマンドを覚えないで遊べるようにっていうのがちょっと入ってますね。
So it's not just about providing different difficulty options for the maximum accessibility. It's also about trying to make sure the command inputs themselves are easier. Obviously, it took us all a year to be able to roll a fireball, and many hurt thumbs were had in the process. He wants to make sure people are enjoying the game and that command inputs are not getting in the way of the fun. So basically there's an easy functionality, easy mode you're able to do, which is there's many different skills that you can learn. You'll be able to designate 5 skills as automatic skills. You'll cycle through them probably with the L2 button, and then with the R2 button, you'll be able to just press one button and that skill will come out. I believe there were previous fighting games that also had a similar system, but it allows for more accessibility for a wide variety of different people to enjoy the content and not make it so that you have to break your thumb trying to get the skill to come out at the right time. Shenmue itself was meant to be different from Virtual Fighter, he mentioned before, in so much as it's not supposed to be this incredibly severe timing fighting game. It's meant to be something where you're having fun with the motions and the animations and the fights. And so this just goes deeper into that with providing more accessibility options. はい、そうですね。
そうですね。すごいバトルが苦手な方でも、
はい、
イージーにして、でとにかくこうボタンを押してれば、なんとかなるんじゃないかなと思います。ボタンを押さない人はどうにもなんないな。
わかりました。ボタンぐらいは押してくれということですね。
そうそうそう。
はい。
押さないとどうにも助けようがないな。
はい。So basically what that allows somebody to do, a younger player or somebody who isn't good at fighting games or whoever, that really wants to enjoy the game and enjoy the world and the story and whatnot, you could set it to easy mode. You could then use the easy functionality with the different moves. And so long as you're able to press a button, then you'll be able to do the different moves and fight the enemies and then move forward with the game. So it really does, it's a game that can cater to a wide variety of different play styles and gamers. はい、わかりました。
はい、
じゃあ次の質問に移ってもいいですか。まあ15分ぐらいあると思います。
5分ぐらい。
そうですね。ちょうどいいと思います。
飛ばす。
お、これは。
日本語だからいいか。次。
So he has this slide, and we have 15 minutes, and we're trying to figure out whether we should talk about the last 2 questions or we should explain the slide that's in Japanese. Do we want to explain the slide that talks about the battle system? I'm seeing head shaking. じゃあすいません。もう一旦出してしまったからにはちょっと軽いので説明していただきたいです。
はい、やり込み機能って言いますかですね。
そうですね。
それと今回ちょっと道場っていうのを作ったんです。ワンツーに多分ワンツーにもあったんですけど、その機能としてはなかったんですね。いつでもどこでも練習ができたり、スパーリングができたり、試合ができたり、今の一人練習と対人練習とあとは試合っていうのがあって、クンフーっていうのが一人練習で主に木人を相手に、木人って分かります？
分かります。よく分かります。
木人を相手にやって体力アップとか持久力上げていくやつです。でサンダっていうのがですね、スパーリングですね。これでその入手した技書をどんどん鍛えていって、で攻撃力が上がってきますね。
はい、
で立ちはだかる敵っていうのが一応段位っていうのを今回入れたんで、大体何段相当の敵かっていうのはこうストーリーの中でちょっと分かってくるような感じになってるんで、で今僕の段がどれぐらいだから、こんぐらいの段にならないと戦えないなとか、どれぐらい僕が頑張んないと同格にならないなっていうのがちょっと情報として入るように、見つけない人もいるんですけどなってますから、そこで道場で敵と同じぐらいの段になったら戦いに行こうとか、その目安になるようにで常に ストーリーと並走してその自分が強くなっていくようにっていうことを配慮して今回道場システムっていうのは
入れてるわけですね
入れました。
ちなみに試合っていうのはどういうパワーアップ要素がありますか？
試合はパワーアップ要素はないですね。自分の鍛えた技とかっていうその
練習する
3打の時にコマンドの練習ができるようになっているのでその3打の時は遅いとか入力が遅いとかちょっと言われちゃったりするんですけどそこで鍛えてで試合で自分の力を試すっていう感じですね。
わかりました。はい。So, let's all try to keep this on the down low, just in case this isn't really meant to be shown prime time. In the original Shenmue 1 and 2, there was a dojo system, but it didn't serve a purpose other than practicing. In Shenmue 3, you'll be able to do 3 different things: kung fu, sparring, and then matches. I think you could do similar things like that in the original Shenmues, but now there are certain abilities, power-ups, things that you'll actually be able to gain from being in the dojo. So kung fu, which is basically you against a wooden dummy fighting, will give you endurance and make you stronger, be able to take more hits, etc. For the sparring, you'll be able to level up your different skill. You learn a new skill, you'll go there, you'll keep mastering it, it'll get stronger and stronger. And then every time you use that in the game, you'll be able to do more damage, you'll have more power. And then last but not least, in the matches, it'll allow you to go up against stronger enemies and then really practice for what are going to be some of the harder bosses in the game. He's also included, it's the Japanese word dan, basically means like rank or level system. If it's karate, it's different colors of belts. But ultimately, you'll be able to look at yourself and know whether you're a level 3 person, and then the boss you're going to fight is a level 6 person, which means you need to go to the dojo and start powering up and get stronger to be able to face off against a boss that's that strong. So there's a way to sort of compare where you're at in the game, strength-wise, versus where you're going to be fighting against. So anyways, this is top secret again. Let's keep it between us kids. はい。じゃあ次の質問に移りましょうか。ありがとうございました。Okay, so the next question we have is this a game that no one with any knowledge about previous Shenmue games can enjoy? まあ、Shenmue やった経験のないことのない、プレイヤーさんでもこういうゲームを楽しめますかと。
途中からでも遊べるように工夫して作っています。ただ1とか2を分かってた方がより楽しめると思うので今回ダイジェストムービーっていうのをつけといたのでそれをちょっと見てから始めるとまあ連続もののプリビアスストーリーみたいなやつですね、前回ここまでみたいなものから始めることができるので、はい、見ないよりは見て始めた方がいいかもしれない。
そうですね。So obviously 18 years is a long time. I've had a daughter within those 18 years. And so ultimately, you don't know if someone will have played the first Shenmue or the second Shenmue when they approach this game. He's taken a lot of efforts to make sure that there is a nice gradual curve of understanding the game systems and playing it. So even if you haven't played the first Shenmue or second Shenmue, you're still able to enjoy playing this from the ground up. That being said, it is a continuation of a story that did start in Shenmue 1, was continued in Shenmue 2, and so there will be a digest, like in our previous tale, this happened, sort of movie that you'll be able to watch in the game. So for anybody who hasn't seen those, he definitely recommends that you watch that and then start playing the game. It's a really good way to get into the feeling, the world, and know what has happened to Ryo up until now. はい、わかりました。
一番本当はやってほしいのは、セガからワンツー出たのでね。
出ましたね。
それちょっとやっていただいての方が一番いいんだけど、ね。
さすがスーパープロデューサーですね。ナイス売り込みです。So he said, of course, there is the other method of enjoying the previous installments, which is to buy the remakes that Sega is going to be releasing, playing those, and then playing Shenmue 3. That's also an option. That's probably the best way to enjoy it, so please for those of you who haven't done it yet, that's a good solution. はい、ありがとうございます。じゃあ、次の質問に、移ります。ミニゲームはどんなものがありますか？ So I'm asking what sort of mini games they have. I mean, obviously Shenmue is famous for mini games. We'll see how much he'll tell us about those.
そうですね、今のエレクトロニクスの CPU が入ってるゲームっていうのももちろん入ってはいるんですけど、そのエレメカっていうんですけど、日本だとメカだけでできてるものとか、その電気を使ったりしてもこう電飾がこうリレーってわかりますかね？リレーでピカピカってこう光ったり、ディスクリートで組まれて、そういう原始的なゲームですよね。機械式でガチャガチャもそうですけど、そういった方がシェンムーの世界の中ではこうよりダイレクトに、なんでしょう、そのゲーム自体のその一個のゲームの楽しさではなくて、この世界を旅していろんなものに出会って、こう記憶の中に残って、それで思い出になっていって、で一回旅を終えて帰ってきたシェンム終わった後に一個旅をして帰ってきたような感じになる。そのためによりこう単純でダイレクトなゲームの方がいいんですね。でそれだけだとまたなんかつながりがなくなっちゃうので、そこからチケットが出てきて、そのチケットが何かに使えたりですね、そのチケットで何かに使ったやつからまた何かが生まれてって、それがどっかにまたつながってとかっていうことを先ほど言ったつながり、ゲームもまたその一個のゲーム単体で面白くするっていう考え方ではなくて、その世界の中で何か役割を持っていくっていう考え方で、そのためにその単純なゲームがいいかな、割合を増やしてますね。
はい、わかりました。So, the mini games in Shenmue, you'll be able to find them in many different locations around the world. He wanted to put a focus on analog, mechanical, carnival-style games where you spin a lever and a ball would go through a thing, or rubber bands, or the core mechanic behind making it move, gears, whatever. There, of course, are video games based on computer chips and whatnot. But there's a heavier focus on these mechanical games. He just felt that really felt like it fit the game world of Shenmue 3. It felt like a simpler time that's more easily conveyed. But then he also wanted to dial it into, again, the core gameplay element of connectivity. So you'll travel around the world, you'll play many different mini games. Hopefully, you'll get an emotional connection to this one certain game. You'll be like, wow, it's really cool. You'll play it a long time. You'll get tickets from playing that game, from winning it. And then later you'll be able to use those tickets potentially in another system that may, again, unlock skills, whatever. So it's another core mechanic that is tied into the central game loop of opening up skills in the game. He mentions that being able to go around this world, do many things in it, come back and have all these parts connected together. That's one of the core things that he's really happy that you'll be able to do on this game. まあすごく面白いと思うんですけれども、やっぱ気になるのはフォークリフトっていうものは出るかどうかっていうことですよね。I mean, I love the mini games, but is there a forklift in the game? I think that's what we're all wondering, right? You know, is there a forklift?
これ違いました。
Sorry, that is not. That is a forklift. Can I get a yes? Never did I think I would get so excited about forklifts until I started playing Shenmue. はい。一応ね、フォークリフトは出るという確約ですね。で、フォークリフトで何かそのミニゲーム絡みのことはありましたっけ？
あるんですけど、
それは NG ですね。わかりました。後の楽しみですね。OK。
まあフォークリフトも
いろんなものを動かせるということですね。
1とか2よりも、なんか1のフォークリフトの方がスピード出るんですけどね。でもこうつながっていくっていうことではこっち こちらもちょっとまた違う、
楽しいですね。
遊びになってきてると思うので。
わかりました。We can say a couple things about the forklift, but we are going to have to leave a few of the interesting things that you can do with the forklift as a secret. So apologies, but we're going to give you a couple things, which is number one, the Shenmue 3 forklift. The Shenmue 3 model forklift is unfortunately slower than the Shenmue 1 model forklift. That being said, the Shenmue 3 model forklift is connected again into the core game. So there'll be certain things that maybe you have to move, or certain things you have to do with the forklift that will again open up new features, elements, etc. So we will all be able to do a lot of happy forklifting, which is great. Can't have it without Shenmue. ありがとうございました。もうすごい面白いそうですね。はい。最後の質問になります。ちょっと最後の2、3分ぐらいしか残ってないので、last question. It's been a long 18-year wait for some of the fans of the series. Do you have anything to tell them in closing? 前作が販売されてもうなんと18年ぐらい経ったと思いますけれども、今作に関して18年待ってたファンに対しての一言をぜひお願いしたいと思っております。
シェム1とシェム2ってやっぱりちょっと同じシリーズだけど随分遊びが違っています。で、シェム3も1と2とこう世界観は似てるけど遊びはまたちょっと違うものになっています。だけど遊んでみるとやっぱりそのシェンムーとしか言いようのない世界観、シェンムーとしか名前がつかないようなゲームになっているので、シェンムーのファンの方はまずなんとかOK 出してくれるかなっていうふうにはちょっと思ってます。早く皆さんのもとに届けたいなとはちょっと思っているので、もう少しファンの皆さんはお待ちください。
わかりました。So, people who have played Shenmue 1 and 2 are going to know that the difference between Shenmue 1 and 2, there are differences of the two games. Shenmue 3 will also be different. Some of the world you'll notice, it'll feel very similar from previous installments. But he feels that no matter what sort of new elements or gameplay they put into Shenmue 3, it is still going to feel like a Shenmue game. So he feels the fans will be very happy with what he's been able to create. Obviously, 18 years is a long time to wait, and he really wants to get it into everybody's hands as soon as he possibly can. So he just appreciates your patience waiting just that little bit longer before you can play it. And with that, we are all out of time, all the way from Tokyo, Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, Yu Suzuki, the man, the myth, the legend. お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様でした。
以上です。ちょっとお辞儀しますか。
ありがとうございました。